Thank you for Patreon now for donating to the Patreon.
Hey guys, Vandy's back in another Card Fight Vanguard deck performance. If you enjoyed them, type conscribe and sorry. This time we're covering Lilfa, set 3, for Lyrical Monasterio. I don't like Lilfa. In fact, Lilfa is the reason why I hate all Lyrical Monasterio now, or at least like the new set 3 stuff, because it's the one that made me realize they're ripping off skills. Or, like, not necessarily ripping off skills, but, like, taking two things and then just kicking them together because they can't think of anything else. And if you wonder why I say this, if you look at this deck and then you read Lilfa's skill, you kind of begin to think, huh, that sounds a lot like Bastion and Kari, doesn't it? So let's go ahead and look at the deck and then you'll kind of see what I mean. So first up, we have our starter, an extra large Newcomer Lilfa, grade 0 boost, 5k shield, 6k base. Auto Rotoplank, win second, draw a card. Cool, standard starter, not special about it. It's a grade 0, you just get that free draw if you win second. Fun fact about this whole entire ride line, before, when Bushy revealed this, they said there was going to be a giant girl revealed next week. I thought by giant girl, they meant Michiru, but when I checked the fandom and found their typing, apparently this is a giant. And the reason why it says that is extra large Newcomer. For some reason, I didn't know this one until I was putting together this deck profile. So, good on me. I'm an idiot for not reading cards. But yeah, this is our starter, basically. And we have our over, greatest star, Ertanza, for it's a human, grade 0 boost, 50k shield, 5k power, over trigger moment, over trigger deck, reveals a trigger, move that card, move that card, draw a card, choose one of you, it gets plus 1 million for the turn, and if you reveal a during your attack, activation protectors, during this fight, you get, during your turn, all your rear guards get plus 10. There will never be a point where I could say that as fast as that and then not fuck up in any part of the wording, but whatever. Point is, this over trigger is powerful. It's just as good as it is with Kari because this deck is literally just B-Tech Kari to the point where if you see this over, your opponent has, depending on what turn you pulled this on, 1 turn or 2 turns to win, and if they don't win by then, well, I'm sorry, my friend, you've lost, you're not winning this game anymore, GG's, go ahead, scoop, walk away, and then just pretend like this never happened. So, this draw's all around is a good over trigger, you get that draw, you get the 1 million defensively on aggressively regardless, and then the plus 10 during your turn. Cool. It can really be any lyrical over because all of them have the same effect, but I just prefer Ertanza just because it's the closest I can think to Giant. And then we have our normal triggers. 3 copies of our front, Snow Skip Parvy, grade 0 boost, 15k shield, 4k power, front trigger to his guard circle, leave your opponent's vanguard to grade 3 plus 5k shield. Okay, cool. Fronts are nice, plus 10 to front row, having a 20k shield. Some people say Lilfa doesn't need fronts. What is my statement on that? Fair. I don't disagree with you. I don't think Lilfa needs fronts. Here's my argument. I'm dumb. I don't know how to use Lilfa properly, or to be more exact, I know how to use her properly. I have found the combos, I know the plays, but always when I pull them out, I fuck it up in some way, shape, or form. Like, I always call the right rear guard to the wrong circle. I always call it behind when I should call it in front. I always, like, fuck up on the bouncing. Some way, somehow, I mess up Lilfa's skill, or sometimes I just get fucked over by a trigger. So at some point, I stopped caring, and I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's play it this way, and then just have the front because at least the fronts benefit me when I fuck up because I normally have an extra column open, so that's what the front's for. Either way, front's nice to have, 3 of, helps me from fucking myself over, so yeah. If you're smart, don't run the front, run an extra crit, but I know I fuck up, I'm aware of this, so I put the front here as a safety net, which actually works. I was right to put it in here, the safety net's working. Then we have 4 draw triggers in Transparent, Snowy Night, Bear Toy, grade 0 boost, 5k shield, 4k base, draw triggers his guard circle. If your opponent's vanguard's a grade 3 gets plus 5k shield, so cool. Standard draw, just a 10k shield if your opponent's at grade 3. The draw definitely helps fill up your hand. The other reason level frontier, you definitely need a lot of shield. Since it's just B-Tech, Bastion, and Kari combined, the shield definitely comes in handy. So, you know, having that shield is really nice, and you do run the draw more, so you can see more good rear guards, and so you can get more guard power. So, 4 draws, and then 4 copies of Precious to an Edwige, grade 0 boost, 15k shield, 4k base, critical trigger, auto rear. At the end, about to boost it, put it to soul, choose one vehicles plus 2 for the turn. Cool. This is actually helpful because the deck does kind of run into a soul problem occasionally, especially if you're me and you fuck up the order of skills or you fuck up how to use a skill, so then there's no point in using that skill, which goes to soul, so now you have to rely on this to be your soul charger. Like I said, that's why the front's here. So Edwige is all around good. The 2k doesn't really make a difference, but being able to go to soul is helpful, so why not run out of 4 of? Then we have 4 heals in Soft Light Pruel. She's essentially the heal I put into every deck that isn't, that doesn't have a heal that I like particularly, or like if it doesn't have an archetype. So yeah, there's Soft Light Puro, it's just the normal heal. I don't like the effect heals. I've already made it clear on every other Overdressed deck profile that I have, more or less, that why I don't like the effect heals, but the basic reason is they're a little too situational. The 5k shield difference does actually make a big difference in certain games. For example, a game I saw yesterday night, whew, that was a blowout. But the sad part was, if the guy was running normal heals, he would have won, because he would have survived the turn, but he didn't, because he didn't run normal heals. It was against Rostra, by the way. Yeah, the 5k makes the difference. So yeah, I mean, I prefer the extra 5k. I mean, I've done this before, but like, you know, I don't like the effect heals, but if you want to run the effect heals, go ahead, but I do prefer the Puro. And then we move on to our grade 1s. First up, we have our PG at Musical Committee Nicolene, grade 1 boost, 0 shield, 6k base, contains Sentinel. You may have 4 summons on the deck, and auto is put on guard circle, choose when it views, it cannot be a ton of battle, and if your hand is 2 or more cards, you card from your hand, discard it. Standard PG, not specified. Basically what that means, if this and only one of the cards in your hand when you place on guard circle, that means you do not have to discard, which is great because that means you can be as aggressive as you want and still keep a lot of hand cards for defensive, though this does not matter because half your deck doesn't have fucking guarding power. So Nicolene is as good as she is. She, you know, is at like 50-50 decision basis. So take that as you will, but you always want to PG anyways, especially in this deck where, like I said, B-Tech Bastion, you're going to need those cards to support you. And now earlier I said, oh yeah, let's move on to our grade 1s, implying that there's more than one. Well, I wasn't necessarily lying, but I wasn't necessarily telling the truth either. Go Oversized Room Lilfa. Yep, like I said, B-Tech Bastion, basically meaning there's only one grade 1, that's the PG, and then the only other one is the ride deck one, then after that we have nothing else. So Lilfa over here is a grade 1 with boost, 5k shield, 8k base, auto when she's rolled upon by a grade 2 of Lilfa in her card name, choose up to 1 grade 2 or greater card from your hand, call it to back row rear center, and give its boost for the turn, and if you called, you draw. Cool. So essentially, you get a free rear guard, so now you get a free 10k booster, and you get a draw out of it. What's not to like about it? Nothing. She's just a good grade 1. It's a free skill that you only plus off of. And if you're wondering if that ever becomes a problem, one Lilfa of the grade 3 gives boost, and then the grade 2 one bounces back to hand. So there's absolutely no problems with this thing. It's perfect. One of in the ride deck. Then we have 4 copies of our first grade 2, Best Rival Train. The definition of she's here is if in the case where I run out of soul, I have boosters. And you know what? That happened one game, and I was so glad I ran Train out of 4 of because she was running a train on the competition. Not in the sexual way. So anyways, grade 2 and 5k shield, 9k base, contains back or rear. She gets boosted minus 2k. Oh, minus. I've been giving her plus 2k. Well, you live and you learn. Either way, it's still a good skill because now you have a 7k booster. I have been fucking up a lot, but on the plus side of that, that 2k would not have made the difference because it would have kept the guard the exact same. So, hell yeah. Either way, Train is all around a nice grade 2 to have, even though I now realize the fuck up with her skill. Why did no one correct me on this, goddammit? Anyways, just a good card nonetheless. Being able to get a boost for free, especially when this deck requires you to have a lot of grade 2s and grade 3s, is all around good. So good in a comeback situation, now that I've read her skill. Not good in any other situation, but hey, she's good for what I need her to, so 4 of. Then we have favorite 1, Fleurety. I don't know how to fucking say that. I'm gonna try one more time. Fleurety. Grade 2 5k shield, 10k base. The card I keep fucking up with because I had her. The one time I had her in my hand, I messed it up because I called her to back row rear and I should have called her to front row. I fucked it up. That's my bad. I take responsibility for that. God damn it. Anyways, auto rear, when your other rear guards return to your hand by your grade 3 or greater Vanguard's ability, counter boss 1, shove this to soul, draw a card, choose up to 1 grade 3 from your hand, and call it an open rear guard circle. So here's what you do with this card. You don't run it in Lilfa. No. You do the smart decision. You take this out of Lilfa, and then you put it into Kari, so Kari has more bullshit to spam on you. Either way, this thing is really good. Just the fact that you can get a draw and get you a soul only for the cost of a counter boss, which is kind of like 50-50 with Lilfa, and the fact that you can get another grade 3 to your rear guard. Why specifically a grade 3? I don't fucking know. This is why I call it knockoff Bastion, because Lilfa also does the same thing. But you get basically 5 attacks in a turn. Like I said before, knock off Kari, because half of Lilfa's support, you just put into Kari, and honestly, it probably does better, because guess what? Kari does the same thing, but for free and less of a cost. So, for a Fleurety, it's a good grade 2, don't get me wrong. I just fuck up with this, and this is why I run fronts, because I literally cannot put... She either never shows up, or when I do get her, I end up fucking it up, and I put her in the back row instead of the front row. So, for a Fleurety. And then we have 4 copies of On the Verge of Being Late Poofla, one of my favorite cards in this deck. Grade 2 and stuff, 5k shield, 10k base. Auto, when it's placed on rear, if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard of Lethal in its card name, choose a grade 2 or less Normian with Lethal in its card name from your drop, put it to soul. If you put a card, plus 5k. Again, I say, knock off Kari, because we had a grade 3 that did the exact same fucking thing, but if you put it to soul, you counterboss 1 to get plus 10. I don't know how many times I have to say, this is clearly knockoff Kari. 2 of these cards work better for Kari, or have skills that Kari does, but better for Kari over Lilfa, and Lilfa's skill is more or less just a copy of Kari and that one really good Bastion order. So all around, Poofla's really good. The fact that it gets you a soul for free is amazing. Gets plus 5, and you can combo with this grade 1 if you manage to Soul Blast, and then have her have plus 5 from being placed behind the Vanguard, and then she has boost, and then you get a draw. Never mind, because you can't do that because it has to be a grade 3 grade Vanguard. Point is, nice card to have in the back row if you need it to for the boost, and just putting something to soul. Why not run out of 4 of? Then we have our 1 grade 2, which fixes your problem of you call a grade 2 from this, and then it gets boost, and then you want to change its rear guard for the turn. This is where this card comes in. Favorite time Lilfa, grade 2 and stuff, 5k shield, 10k base. Auto, when she's rode upon by the grade 3 Lilfa, or it's any grade 3 Lilfa actually, choose a grade 2 or greater rear guard, and you bounce it to hand. So cool. You just get to recycle your rears. And all around, that's a good plus. It's just a nice thing to have. If you got a draw out of it, I feel like there'd be better reasons to run this as your ride deck card. Not saying it's bad, I'm just saying I feel like it could have been better for just give us a draw, but whatever. So either way, Lilfa is all around pretty decent, allows you for exchange of rear guard for free. Why not run it as a 1-up in the ride deck? None in the main deck, obviously, because it has no skills. Then move on to our grade 3s. 3 copies of Elegant Afternoon Lacrine. So, I don't say I'm smart, or I think I constantly put myself down that I'm stupid. This is one of the cards where I definitely mistake of what it was used for. So thank you. I forgot what your name was, but if you're watching this, thank you for commenting on the video that this was revealed in, because I actually didn't think about that, where this is actually a booster. Or it's meant to be a booster, because grade 3 turns up 30k base, continues rear guard during your turn. She cannot attack a Vanguard, but she does get plus 10. And the reason why that's important is because this is Lilfa's best restrictive card, because now she has boost. So you put her in the back row, she's a 23k booster, and no one's fucking with her. Here's my issue with her, though. Why do you never show up? Lacrine, what the fuck? I know I called you useless, but that's because I didn't know what your skill was, or how to use you. Why are you backstabbing me? Come on. Show me that you're useful, please. Either way, Lacrine, all around, good booster. Essentially how I see it, if this thing hits the board, it's game, because that's 23k booster continuously. So don't fuck with this card. 3 of, and if we ever get a unit that can restand units, this will always be your target, because fuck multi-attack. You just get the 23k booster enough, multi-attack ain't gonna have shit on it. So 3 copies of this. Watch out for it and murder it the second it hits the board. Then we have 4 copies of Selfie, Practice, Anneliese. This is for the sake of opening up my front row rears. The other time I fucked up, because the one time I put this in the front row, I had this in the front row and I didn't think it through all the way when I used Lilfa. So Selfie Practice is a great 300%, or 12k base actually. Auto rear, at the end of battle she attacked while boosted, put her to soul, choose one of your rear guards, and gets plus 5. Okay, it's here for multiple reasons. 1, goes to soul. 2, makes whatever rear guard swing into plus 5, and that's always important because I want to save the booster for the next attack. So, swing, now it's a 15 or in 13 or something, so now I don't have to waste a boost on it, and then when I bounce it with Lilfa, I can call a unit in front of that other rear guard, and now it has boost. So all around, Anneliese is pretty good, opens up rear guards, gets power, works with Lilfa really well, gets a soul. My only thing is I keep fucking her up when I use her with this, because Lilfa has to bounce a unit in the front row, meaning this can't be in the front row too, meaning I can't get the full combo off. Either way, Anneliese is a good grade 3 I like. Just don't put these 2 on the board together, because you will fuck something up. So 4 of Anneliese, just a good grade 3. Why not run it at 4, honestly? And then we have 4 copies of Passionate Devotee Strede. My exact words of this card are this. If it wasn't name restricted to Lilfa, there'd be no reason to run this in Lilfa. Grade 3 turns out Persona Right, 13k base. Auto when it's placed on rear from hand. If you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard of Lilfa in its card name, gets plus 5 for the turn. Cool, so it's an 18k base regardless of when it's placed. And if it was placed during the main phase, Soul Blast 2, draw a card. Okay, so restricted during the main phase, so you can't plus off it during the battle phase, because Lilfa does call during battle phase, and you get a draw on the plus 5. That Soul Blast 2 has actually been really helpful, because it gets me Lilfa's in drop, and then I can summon match Soul with Polfa. All around, this is a really good card. It's just an 18k swing, always guaranteed, or an 18k boost guaranteed, and it just works. I wish it got more power for being a triple rare, but at the same time, that's only on paper, because when you use this deck, even if the fucking 23k booster doesn't show up, this deck still hits stupid numbers. So, like I said, it's Bastion and Kari combined. For once, that's actually a good thing. I mean, I was using it as an insult before, but that actually is a good thing. You want to know why? Bastion, I constantly say, hits like a truck. Kari, I say, hits like freaking dynamite. You combine them together, you have a truck that hits like dynamite. So, you know, this deck is the equivalent of that. It's just a truck that hits like dynamite. And if I got the combo off once, I'm pretty sure it'd be instant gain, considering the amount of numbers I've seen averagely hit from this deck. Because guess what? This entire deck works while your opponent's at grade 2. So you can beat the shit out of them before they even get to do shit. Run this out of 4 of, there is no questions about it. And then move on to our grade 3s, our last grade 3 and our last card in the deck. 3 copies in the main deck, 1 copy in the ride deck of Highest Dreamer Lilfa. Grade 3, 20 Persona Ride, 13k base. Act Van, once per turn, Soul Blast 1, choose all of your grade 2 or greater rear guards, and they get boost for the turn. So this skill is kind of shitty, because if it gave itself this skill, Continuous Vanguard, all your rear guards get boost for the turn, then this would be better. And I would argue, let it be a Soul Blast 2, and I'd be fucking fine with it. Because then this deck would be a little bit more consistent, and then my constant fuck-ups with this thing wouldn't be as bad, because then I can just call the grade 3 to the back row rear guard circle behind the other grade 3 that I just called from Leafless skill, and now I at least have a stronger column. But no, they wanted to make it only things that exist during the main phase, so fuck me. Either way, it's a good skill. Like I said, wish it was during the battle phase, but whatever. And then Auto Van, at the end of the battle, she attacked. If your back row has 3 or more grade 2 or greater rear guards, remember, they don't have to be at grade 3 for this, they can be at grade 2. Counterblast 1, choose one of your front row and back row rear guards, bounce them both to hand, and if you return 2 units, choose up to 1 grade 3 card from among them, from your hand, call it to an open rear. So essentially, this gets +5, this if you still have a booster left just to get more soul, and this just because you want a booster because it doesn't have to go to front row. All around, Leaf was pretty good. Like I said, if she gained a continuous skill that gave her boost, then my fuck-ups would not be as bad because at least I have a bigger column, but whatever. She gets numbers, hits like a truck with dynamite strapped into it that blows up on impact, is knockoff Kari, but kind of better than grade 3. Well, it's better than grade 3 Kari because it at least goes off while your opponent's at grade 2 because, well, technically, yeah, Kari does go off while they're at grade 2. You have to Persona it, so technically they'll be at grade 3. So it goes off while the opponent's at grade 2. Gets numbers that are the equivalent to Bastion on grade 3 turn, or yeah, on first grade 3 turn. So, all around, Lilfa, don't fuck with her. Gets numbers, gets multi-attack, gets everything. Even when you fuck up, this deck is extremely terrifying, and I'm willing to bet if this deck and I stop fucking up, this deck will be even more terrifying. So yeah, 3 of in the main deck, 1 of in the ride deck. Run away from Lilfa. That's it for the deck. I hope you guys enjoyed. Like I said, I don't hate the deck itself. I hate the fact that it makes me remember that this is just a knockoff of Bastion and Kari, and like all the other stuff that came from set 3 is kind of like knockoff-ish too. But honestly, the deck is good. The deck is genuinely good. Like I said, hits like a truck with dynamite strapped to it that blows up on impact, and everything in a 10-mile radius will get fucking nuked. But like, it's good. It works with the opponent's at grade 2. Gets so many different grade 3s. The only downside is like your grade 1 turns essentially vanilla. This deck still gets a lot of defensive cards, at least from my experience. And even when I fuck up, this deck is still good as hell. And I'm willing to bet if I didn't fuck up as much as I did with this card, this deck would be even more dangerous. So I'm going to end it here. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, join Discord, follow Twitch, and I'll see you all in the next one. Don't forget to stand up your vanguards.